And you were asking in worship too, when you do that, you can tap where you want the window to go.
Yeah, I know. I was playing with it all day yesterday.
Okay. Oh, you were here.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
No, I was home.
Oh, okay.
I took this home with me. But let me... All right, people, you are good to go. Let's see. Somewhere.
Just read 44 through 45. First paragraph, not to the...
Through 44.
Yeah, the first paragraph. So we should go?
Not yet. I was gonna ask you, quarantine.
You're already on.
Oh.
Yeah, you're already on.
Oh.
Morning.
People probably don't necessarily know, but you are on.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Concordia Lutheran Church. My name is Ted, and this is my wife Beth. Today is December 13th, and we're doing the adult Bible Sunday school lesson, and we're in Matthew chapter 24. I have my wife read verses 36 to 45.
But concerning that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.
This, Jesus says, concerning that day and hour, and this is referring back to the question that the disciples asked at the beginning of chapter 24. Verse 3, it says, as they sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us when will these things be? That was the first question. And what will be the sign of your coming and of the close of the ages? And this is the question now that Jesus is answering. And essentially, he's telling them that no one knows except the Father. And none of us know when the end of the world is coming. We are warned that it is coming. And essentially, the rest of this chapter and the next chapter tell us it will come when we don't know, but we always need to be prepared, and also we need to continue about the work that God has given us. But he starts out with this example of Noah and the time of the flood. And I don't know why, but I always pictured, and I think it's just of things I've heard, but it's not in the Bible, that as Noah was building the ark, the neighbors would come around and make fun of him and tease him. And, he would have built this ark nowhere near water. Obviously, it was a boat, but they just thought he was crazy. But there's nothing in the Genesis about the response of his neighbors or the others there. But let me just the story of Noah is in chapters 6, 7, and 8 of Genesis. I'm just going to read a couple verses from Genesis 7, but it just shows that the ark was finished and Noah was told to enter, but the others didn't know that. Again, chapter 7, verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened. and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And let me just skip to verse 21. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swam on the earth, and all mankind. So at that time, the rains came, and all humans except the eight people on the ark were drowned. And it says here, in those days before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day when Noah entered the ark. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So, the example, and that's how our world goes on now. People live their lives, unbelievers live it, just, I guess, in this earthly plane. They go about their lives and don't worry about the afterlife or the future. Whereas believers, we know, that when we die, as believers, we are taken into God's family. We are joined again with Jesus. Not to say that we aren't joined with him now, but in a different way. We will be with him face to face. And then he goes on, these examples. 2 men will be left in the field, one taken, one left. 2 women grinding, one taken and one left. And so again, it tells us to stay awake, because we don't know when that end day is coming. I think it's not real clear here, but which one is taken and which one is left. And I guess there's couple of things, examples. I suppose the word taken means like we are taken with God, but more likely in the Old Testament, those that were left are the ones that stayed with God. And part of that, couple reasons. In Noah, it says the flood took them. Those who died were taken, lost their lives to the flood. And then also, when the Israelites were in the promised land, they were always threatened with being taken from the promised land. The Old Testament would talk about God's judgment as people taken away, and obviously they were taken into exile into Babylon, and then also we'll be reading later. I'm not sure we'll get to it now, but he talks about the goats and the sheep, and how they were separated, and the sheep stay with the shepherd, and the goats are sent off into the wilderness, actually into the eternal fire. And then he talks again about a thief. Thieves come in the night, and this is kind of a negative story, but we always need to be watchful, and always need to protect ourselves. That's we need to be prepared. Also, a lot of times in the Old Testament, they talk about a watchman. They're set up to watch for enemies, and I think it was Ezekiel wrote that he was set as a watchman to watch over the Israelites when they were in exile. But the main message from there is that we need to be watchful. Here, I think it's the thief is seen as I guess in some ways seen as Jesus coming back, but it's unexpected, and we don't know when that is going to occur. I think go on then. This next one is the parable of the 10 virgins.
No, we didn't finish this.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're not to there yet. Verse 45. Yeah.
Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his master has sent over his household to give them their food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servants and eat and drinks with drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Okay, so this is an example of servant. And I think this message to me is that we are not the masters of this world or of our household. We're not the masters of the things that we do. We are God's servants. We're actually his slaves. The closer translation of that word is slave. And the master is away, and there's the faithful and wise servant. Recognize that the master will be coming back, and it talks about his fellow servants, that with being aware of that, we understand that we need to take care of each other. We need to tend to each other. But here you have the wicked servant. My master is delayed. He's not back yet, and so he takes advantage of his fellow servants and mistreats them severely. Also, he mistreats himself. He eats and drinks some drunkards, and when the master does come back, and when we know he will, the unfaithful or the wicked servant will be punished, but the wise servant will be joined again with the master. I think another term I like is a steward. We are for servants. We are set over things, but they're not our things. They're not our possessions. This creation was made for us, but it's not our creation. We are to take care of it. We are stewards of that creation, and we need to care for it as God wants us to. And we see that the punishment is severe for those who don't. Okay, now we'll go on to the parable of the 10 virgins. It's chapter 25.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
13 verses.
Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, "Here is the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all those virgins who rose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise answered, saying, "Since there will not be enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves." And while they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he answered, "Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour."
So again, this is talking about the end of times when Jesus returns. And I think parables usually have something that there's a part of it that we can easily understand. We understand that they're waiting for the marriage to start, and so people get ready, and Usually at marriages, it's a special, joyous occasion, and families come there to celebrate this new union, and so we look forward to it. But then, why would the groom be delayed? Well, we're not told why, but we do learn that there's certain people who are ready for that delay, and others who aren't. And he was delayed so much that everyone fell asleep, and it didn't. There was a call at midnight, and the bridegroom was coming. So, I wouldn't think typically marriages start at midnight, but the thing here is that certain ones had prepared, and others they kind of just brought their lamps, probably with the oil in it, but not enough to replenish. And who is the groom? Who is the bridegroom? That's, I think, pretty obviously Jesus. He will come again, and there's a lot of talks about especially in Revelation, where it talks about the groom and the bride, where Jesus is the groom or the bridegroom, and the church is the bride, and this is our connection with Jesus is like a marriage. It's where we become one with Him, and that marriage will be consummated, I guess, at the end of times. But right now we wait for that time, and we need to be prepared. The greatest thing is to honor the bridegroom, to be ready. Even though he's delayed, we need to be prepared. And I guess it's kind of, it's not saying that the ones who were prepared were selfish, but they understood that they could not give their oil away, or they wouldn't have oil. And I think we can preach and evangelize or share our faith, but we can't give someone else faith. We can show them and through our actions and our words, but we can't give them faith. It's something that each of us has to confess ourselves or take upon ourselves. And I think it's interesting, the commentary I read talks about what is the oil, and he pretty much, I guess there's been a lot of things that have been declared as the oil, but he pretty much says it's whatever is needed to be ready to honor the bridegroom when he comes. And I just like that it's a lamp and they're lit. There's that light, and I think about the Gospel of John, where there's several I ams. Jesus makes several I am statements. One of them being, "I am the light of the world." But I think we can also see, so we need to keep Jesus in our hearts, and he needs to be our light. But then we can also look at those other I am statements. I don't think I'll remember them all, but I am the bread of life. I am the good shepherd. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the vine. I know there's some others, but all those things we need to remember, and to keep us prepared for when he does return. That's one other thing. But we do need to, the other thing is we need to confess. And that's one that he mentions. That's not one of the I am statements. But we need to confess that we are sinful by nature, and that we cannot save ourselves, but we bring we confess our sins and bring them to Jesus, and he forgives us and makes us whole again, makes us holy again. And by so doing, we remain ready for his return. I think you have anything? We'll do one more, the parable of the talents.
Oh.
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward,
Wait a
saying,
minute.
What?
We went offline.
Oh, when?
Yeah. We'll just stop. Let's just stop.
So we don't know when we...
No, but we'll start there.